Hello, my name is Mary-Helen Kolousek. I'm a business administration and marketing student here at UNCG. And today I'm going to be sharing my experience with the Silver Leadership Challenge that I had this semester with my amazing coach, Dorian Thompson. So first, the foundation of my experience with the Silver Leadership Challenge throughout the semester was the goals that I set with my coach in order to improve and to work towards as I advanced through the semester. So when we went in to schedule these goals early on in our first sessions, we really have this focus on growth. So I started openly, we kind of just spoke about my personal, professional experiences that I've had, which allowed us to see kind of the areas that I needed improvement. And so we kind of just talked through everything that I've struggled with personally and professionally. And from that, we decided on these main goals based on what is significant in my life. So which of the problems do I struggle with that I see most abundant and that I could see improving upon, helping me the most in the long run? And so from that, we developed these 4 goals on the right. The first being to lead from behind. So when I'm in a leadership position, in the past, I've tended to be someone that really wants to take control. I want to control every little detail, and I want to make sure everything's how I see it in my head. And this isn't the best way to lead. This can cause some problems and some disagreements amongst teams. And so we wanted to focus on being able to lead someone and knowing how to lead someone without having to take control or or micromanage them as they work. The next goal was to develop a better work-life balance. As a student and as a young professional with a lot of responsibilities, it's often hard to step away from work and to take time for myself and to take time for my friends and my dogs and my hobbies because I'm focused on these goals. And, you have a limited time here at college. So it's like, all right, I need to make progress, but being able to, become aware that I need to take some time and step back and focus on my personal life and, my like hobbies outside of work in order to become more successful within work because I'm taking that time for myself and that time to reflect on my experiences instead of just trying to chug forward and constantly move without any thought or reflection on the past. Our third goal was to practice teamwork. So I'm someone that's in the past has struggled with teamwork. As I mentioned with my first goal, I like to take control and I like to manage everything and make sure that it's as I see it. But this can cause some problems when you're not able to really appreciate the viewpoint and the abilities of those that you work with. So I wanted to advance that. And then lastly, it was really just more distinguishing between helping and serving, especially going into my volunteer experience, which we'll talk on more later. I just wanted to make sure that I was really clear on how can I actually serve my organization? How can I serve my community instead of just helping them, instead of just doing something, because it's there, because they you need me to do it? How can I use my abilities and what I have as far as skill wise to help my community in a way that's more oriented towards my success and my strengths? So how have I grown as a result of not only the Silver Leadership Challenge, but the Bronze Leadership Challenge, which I did and in the spring 2021 semester? So the most notable way that I've grown is really just the ability to empathize with and lead teams. This is something that I still struggle with to a degree. As I mentioned on the last slide, I was still working on it into the semester and I'm still currently working on it, but just really the ability to see others' viewpoints and appreciate their struggles and kind of you empathize with them, understand where they're coming from and serve to uplift them and help them along the way. And so it's just trying to help myself or maybe the larger goal. As in addition to that, through our goal models that we use to set my goals, such as the peer model, which is just kind of focusing on the positive goals instead of going more negative. So for example, the one they included was instead of saying, I'll never eat ice cream again, saying, I'm really looking forward to eating healthier foods. And then of course the SMART model, which many are familiar with, where you use, your time and you make sure that the goal you are working towards is specific and that you can actually achieve it. And this just has allowed me to become more adept, not only at managing my time and managing my growth, but just knowing how to, work with others and how to best incorporate my weaknesses and to grow through my weaknesses, which are really just areas in need of improvement, instead of like just labeling them as weaknesses. So the areas that I'm still growing in are really leading from behind and developing a work-life balance. Leading from behind, definitely, I mentioned it was my very first goal on the last slide. It's something that I've always struggled with and something I'm still working towards as far as just more trusting the people I work with and understanding them and understanding their abilities. And then the work-life balance, I have made significant progress towards with, again, my amazing coach, Dorian, but I'm still obviously working towards that. As a student, as the semester gets, towards the end, it can get a little rocky, it can get a little difficult, but I am making progress towards that. And I'm very excited to keep moving forward and to continue making that progress. So what organization did I serve with for my community engagement? I chose SPCA of the Triad, which helps, shelter animals and shelter dogs and cats get adopted. So what I learned through this experience was that the importance of teamwork and organization. I am a very organized individual, so that was something that was more of my strengths going into this. And then teamwork was more an area in need of improvement that kind of accompanied my organization strength. So I could kind of bump it up and work towards that while knowing that I still was adept in that through organization to serve to serve SPCA of the Triad. Through this experience, it's definitely impacted me a lot. But as I mentioned before, especially with teamwork and organization, I've been able to grow, but also just more as like a leader, being able to work with others towards a common goal and being able to communicate with others and trust their judgment and where they're coming from and their abilities to accomplish everything. It's just really opened my eyes to the importance of that, especially when you're dealing with shelter animals who can be difficult and who have these struggles that you're trying to work towards. And maybe I'm dealing with, for example, a dog that is a little bit stronger than me. And so you do need that teamwork to help control that animal because, I can't do it on my own. And so it was experiences like that that really opened my eyes to the importance of teamwork. And then overall, as far as like my community, it opened my eyes to the financial hardship that people in this community that I, work in and live in experience. So, you often see animals come in, they're dropped off because people can't afford to care for them. And so that, exposes you to the side that maybe you haven't seen before, or maybe you haven't been directly exposed to before. So it was a really eye-opening experience and a great one to have. So what's my personal motivation? My personal motivation is just really growth, achievement, and connection. So, being able to, when you accomplish a task or when you make steps towards a task, maybe like smaller steps, just knowing that you've been able to do something, that you're making progress, that you're not sitting still is what motivates me. I'm someone that loves a checklist. So looking back at the day and being able to check off what I've done and how I've grown. Through the Civic Engagement Academy, and this has been something that has really motivated me as far as in the way that I, value growth and achievement, because as it progressed and as I kept working with my fellow cohort and experiencing these workshops and all of these meetings, I was able to make connections with them and connections with the local professionals that we were speaking with that has opened the door to new opportunities for me and new professional experiences and mentorship that I didn't previously have. Also, what's important for social change? If you ask me, I believe that it's important to lead positive social change in the sense of a community and belonging. So this also draws back to the Civic Engagement Academy. So just creating an environment where everybody feels like they belong and everybody feels like their opinion is valued and important and that they should be able to speak up and voice what they would like to say. Overall, I'm a very goal-oriented individual, and I like to stay motivated and confident in my path. So the experiences that I have had and the goals that I have set throughout the semester as through the Silver Leadership Challenge have been great for me because I've been able to work towards something, because I've had like, a set goal or set goals really that I've been working towards throughout the semester, with the overall one being to accomplish the Silver Leadership Challenge and then eventually move on to, my future goals, which we'll talk on more in a second. But definitely that's what motivates me, and that's what I think is important for positive social change. So as far as my future goals, I mentioned I would talk on these a little bit more. Moving forward, my biggest goal, especially in regards to my undergraduate experience and civic engagement, is to complete the Gold Leadership Challenge. So this is really just an opportunity for me to make a more significant impact in my community by serving my community instead of just helping, and to also make more progress towards personal and professional goals that can really stretch me beyond my comfort zone. So the Silver Leadership Challenge was a great opportunity for this. I definitely had experiences that like pushed me beyond what I normally would have or normally would feel comfortable doing. And that was so great for me, because once you do it, you realize it's not that bad. And so with the Gold Leadership Challenge, I'm looking forward for another opportunity to grow and to kind of solidify my goals, to work towards something and not have it just kind of like up in the air. And then overall, beyond the Gold Leadership Challenge, beyond any specific programs or titles, I'm just really looking forward to uplifting my community by practicing the civic engagement and the personal leadership that I've grown through and experienced this semester. So taking what I've learned in the Silver Leadership Challenge and applying it to my community. And then once I try to apply it, there's probably going to be doors that open to other opportunities for growth and other programs that I can grow through. And so I'm really looking forward to experiencing that and working towards that. And just, overall, as I've mentioned throughout this, I'm a very goal-oriented person. And so just being able to set goals as far as working with my community, set goals in ways that I can serve my community and help and uplift everyone around me is the biggest thing for me. And I'm so excited for that to happen in the future.